Most people believe reading someone takes time, conversation, data, patterns collected over days, weeks, months. That belief is naive. A trained mind can assess hierarchy, insecurity, aggression, desperation, ambition, and hidden intent in under 60 seconds, before a single word is spoken, long before language contaminates the signal. Because words are rehearsed, bodies are not. You have been conditioned to listen, to wait, to interpret speech as truth. That is how prey operates. It listens for reassurance. It looks for harmony. It assumes neutrality. Predators observe first. The moment someone enters your environment, they are already revealing themselves. Their nervous system betrays them. Their posture leaks rank. Their breathing exposes anxiety. Their gaze broadcasts either hunger or fear. Human beings are not as complex as they believe. We are evolved animals dressed in fabric and ego. And animals display rank immediately. The first Machiavellian truth you must accept is this: social hierarchy is not negotiated verbally. It is established silently. When two strangers lock eyes, there is a microsecond of calculation. Who yields first? Who holds the gaze? Who scans the room? Who claims space without asking permission? This is not about confidence in the motivational sense. It is about territory. High-ranking individuals move as if the environment belongs to them. Low-ranking individuals move as if they are borrowing space. Watch the feet. Most people obsess over facial expressions. That is amateur behavior. The feet reveal intention. A person whose feet point toward an exit is already seeking escape. A person whose feet are firmly planted and slightly spread is signaling stability and readiness. The body prepares before the mind rationalizes. Why? Because the brain prioritizes survival over social performance. The amygdala fires before the intellect crafts a sentence. That surge determines micro-movements, jaw tension, shoulder elevation, pupil dilation. You are not reading personality, you are reading survival strategy. Some enter a room scanning for approval. Their eyes dart, their chin lowers slightly. They smile too quickly. They are broadcasting, "Do not attack me." Others enter scanning for opportunity. Their movements are slower, deliberate. They do not rush to speak, they measure. Silence is not emptiness, it is data extraction. The second you stop trying to be liked, you begin to see clearly. Most people cannot read others because they are busy managing their own image. They are thinking, how do I look? What should I say? Am I being judged? That internal noise blinds you. To read someone in under 60 seconds, you must detach from your need for approval. Detachment sharpens perception. When you are not trying to impress, your brain reallocates resources to analysis. This is the first trick. Control your internal state before assessing theirs. If your pulse is elevated, if you crave validation, you will misinterpret dominance as arrogance and anxiety as humility. Your own insecurity distorts the lens. Predators regulate themselves first. Breathe slower than the room. Move slower than the room. Speak last if necessary. When your nervous system is steady, theirs becomes visible by contrast. The anxious will fidget beside your stillness. The aggressive will attempt to invade your space. The submissive will soften their tone unconsciously. Contrast reveals hierarchy. Understand something deeper. Humans are biologically wired to test each other immediately. Micro-tests, almost invisible. Who interrupts first? Who apologizes first? Who fills silence first? The one who rushes to fill silence fears disapproval. The one who lets silence stretch controls tension. Silence is dominance because it forces the other person to reveal discomfort, and discomfort reveals rank. Do not confuse politeness with weakness. A high-ranking strategist can be courteous, but courtesy delivered from stillness feels different than courtesy delivered from fear. One is controlled generosity, the other is appeasement. You must train your eye to detect the difference. When someone approaches you, do not focus on what they say. Observe how they occupy space relative to you. Do they angle their body defensively? Do they lean in too quickly, attempting forced intimacy? Do they hold eye contact just slightly too long, testing intimidation? These are not random behaviors. They are evolutionary echoes of tribe dynamics, dominance, submission, coalition building. In under 60 seconds, you can determine whether someone seeks alliance, validation, competition, or control. But you must strip away illusion first. You have been taught that everyone deserves equal assumption of goodwill, that intentions matter, that vulnerability equals authenticity. Machiavellian clarity rejects that softness. People reveal their position before they reveal their personality. Position is what matters, and if you cannot read position instantly, you will be placed beneath it without realizing it. This is where most people lose power before the conversation even begins. They negotiate from a lower rank they unconsciously accepted. You will not, because now you will learn how to detect hidden insecurity in those who appear dominant and hidden aggression in those who appear harmless. Power does not hide in loudness, it hides in calibration. Most people are deceived by surface signals, a firm handshake, a deep voice, expensive clothing. They assume these are signs of dominance. They are props, sometimes useful, often compensatory. Real dominance is efficient. Here is the second Machiavellian trick: measure congruence. Incongruence is the crack in the mask. When someone enters a room projecting confidence, observe the micro-delays. Does their smile vanish the second attention shifts away? Do their shoulders subtly collapse when they believe no one is watching? Does their breathing become shallow when silence stretches? Confidence that requires constant validation is not confidence, it is maintenance. The insecure dominant overcompensates. They take up space aggressively. They speak quickly. They interrupt, but their eyes scan for reaction, approval, confirmation. They are not controlling the room, they are begging it. You detect this in under 60 seconds by withholding reaction. Do not reward theatrics. Do not laugh too quickly. Do not nod excessively. Your neutrality becomes a mirror. Those who are solid remain solid. Those who are fragile begin adjusting themselves to win you. Adjustment reveals dependency, and dependency is leverage. Understand why this works. The human brain is wired for social feedback loops. When we speak, we unconsciously monitor faces for cues of acceptance or rejection. When those cues are absent, uncertainty rises, cortisol rises, the mask destabilizes. Your calm indifference becomes psychological pressure. Halfway through this transmission, I will test you the same way. If you are absorbing this, if you recognize the strategic value of perception over emotion, then like this video and subscribe, not as a favor, as a signal. Signals matter. Those who move decisively identify themselves. Now, return to the hunt. The third trick is to study reaction to interruption before interruption even occurs. Every human anticipates threat, even social threat. When two people begin interacting, watch for micro-flinches. Does their jaw tighten when someone else approaches? Do their pupils contract? Does their torso angle away slightly as if protecting territory? Those who fear displacement guard space early. Those secure in status remain open. There is another layer beneath this. Hidden aggression often disguises itself as warmth. The overly friendly stranger, the rapid compliments, the immediate use of your name. These behaviors accelerate intimacy artificially. Why? Because accelerated intimacy bypasses critical evaluation. It creates a temporary alliance before hierarchy is negotiated. This is a tactic used by salesmen, manipulators, and socially ambitious climbers. They attempt to anchor themselves beside you before you assess their rank. To read this in under 60 seconds, slow the tempo. Respond to excessive warmth with measured politeness, not matching enthusiasm. If their energy drops when yours does not, warmth was not strategic. If their warmth remains steady even when unreciprocated, it may be genuine. But understand something unsettling. Most warmth is strategic. Humans evolved in tribes where alliances determined survival. Rapid bonding increased chances of protection. That wiring still operates. We bond quickly under pressure. We trust prematurely under charm. A Machiavellian strategist does not bond before assessment. You observe breathing patterns. Anxious individuals breathe high in the chest. Dominant, regulated individuals breathe deeper and slower. You observe blink rate. Rapid blinking under eye contact often signals stress. Slow blinking can signal comfort or deliberate intimidation. The body whispers before the mouth lies. Here is where it becomes dangerous. Many individuals who appear submissive are not weak. They are patient predators. They lower their gaze. They nod. They agree. They let you believe you lead. But watch their timing. True submission yields quickly and consistently. Strategic submission yields selectively. There is a slight delay before agreement, a pause where calculation occurs. That pause is ambition. In under 60 seconds, you are not identifying good or bad. You are identifying strategy type: aggressive dominance, performative dominance, anxious appeasement, strategic submission. Once you categorize the strategy, you control the interaction. Because most people operate unconsciously, they do not know which strategy they are projecting. They are driven by childhood conditioning, social trauma, status hunger, or fear of abandonment. You are not. You are observing the machinery. And when you see the machinery, you stop being intimidated by noise.
Before we go deeper, I want to see something. When you enter a room, any room, what do you do first? Do you scan for who is watching you? Or do you scan for who controls the environment? Comment below. Your answer reveals more about your rank psychology than you realize. Now, understand this. Power is not loud, it is rhythmic. The fourth Machiavellian trick is to read rhythm before language. Every interaction has a tempo, a cadence, a subtle pulse, and whoever controls that rhythm controls the frame. When two strangers face each other, there is an invisible negotiation happening beneath the surface. Who moves first? Who adjusts posture first? Who mirrors whom? Mirroring is submission disguised as connection. When someone subtly mirrors your posture within seconds, their nervous system is attempting alignment. Alignment reduces threat. It says, "We are similar. I am safe." But safety-seeking is not dominance, it is adaptation. If you remain still and they adjust, they are calibrating to you. That is information. Watch the distance they choose. Predators close distance slowly and deliberately. The insecure close distance abruptly or hover awkwardly. The confident maintain a distance that feels intentional, neither intrusive nor hesitant. Space is hierarchy made visible. In ancient tribes, physical proximity signaled rank. High-ranking individuals did not shrink away. They did not overextend either. They occupied center territory. Edges were for observers, outsiders, or those waiting for invitation. Modern rooms are no different. Offices, parties, meetings. The alpha does not cling to walls. But here is the deeper layer. Some individuals take central space yet remain psychologically peripheral. They are visible but not influential. You detect this by watching who others orient toward naturally. Orientation is involuntary respect. When someone speaks, observe the subtle shifts in torso and feet from surrounding individuals. The body turns toward perceived value. Even if conversation is casual, bodies betray allegiance. You can identify the true center of power in under 60 seconds simply by watching who commands unconscious orientation. And here is the inversion. The most dangerous individual is often not the one being watched. It is the one doing the least visible movement while others subtly check them for reaction. Watch for the person who speaks minimally yet causes others to glance at them before making decisions. That is silent authority. Silence with gravitational pull. Most people misunderstand silence. They think silence equals awkwardness, weakness, social incompetence. That is because they fear exposure. When silence stretches, insecure minds scramble to fill it. They confess, they over-explain, they self-sabotage. The strategist allows silence to work. If you want to read someone instantly, introduce controlled pauses, say less than expected. Maintain eye contact half a second longer than comfort allows. Then say nothing. Observe. Does the other person rush to justify themselves? Do they laugh nervously? Do they ask unnecessary questions to break tension? Or do they hold steady? Their reaction to silence reveals their relationship with pressure. Pressure reveals rank. Understand the biology behind this. Humans evolved in high-stakes social hierarchies where exile meant death. Social tension activates threat circuitry. The fear of rejection is ancient and primal. When you withhold validation, the brain interprets ambiguity as potential threat. Those who have internal stability remain composed under ambiguity. Those who rely on external validation destabilize. You are not being cruel. You are running a diagnostic. Now we descend further. The fifth trick is to read micro-expressions, not for emotion, but for resistance. When you introduce yourself, watch for fractional delays in facial response, a smile that arrives a millisecond too late, eyebrows that tighten before softening, lips pressing together before parting. That delay is evaluation. Everyone evaluates, but some evaluate with openness, others evaluate with threat assessment. The predator assesses for advantage, the prey assesses for danger. You can see it in the eyes. Predatory gaze is steady but scanning. It measures exits, allies, weaknesses. Prey gaze flickers and avoids sustained exposure. It looks for reassurance. But remember this carefully. Predators sometimes pretend to be prey. They lower their voice. They appear agreeable. They let you feel powerful. And they wait. The difference lies in micro-control. Even when appearing submissive, a strategic predator maintains internal stillness. There is no frantic energy beneath the mask, no urgency, just patience. In under 60 seconds, you can detect urgency. Urgency equals need. Need equals vulnerability. And vulnerability equals leverage. Now, we are going to explore how to identify hidden ambition, suppressed hostility, and covert manipulation before a single strategic sentence is spoken, because the most dangerous games begin before language. Most hostility does not announce itself. It leaks. The sixth Machiavellian trick is to read suppressed aggression before it crystallizes into words. You have been trained to look for anger in volume, raised voices, sharp tones, visible confrontation. That is amateur detection. Refined hostility is quiet, controlled, contained behind social intelligence. Watch the jaw. When someone feels challenged, subtly, even unconsciously, the masseter muscle tightens. The teeth press together for a fraction of a second. It is a primate response, a bite reflex. Humans do not bear fangs, but the body remembers how. Watch The nostrils. A slight flare indicates physiological arousal, not always rage, sometimes dominance assertion, sometimes territorial defense. But paired with tightened lips and narrowed eyes, it signals suppressed challenge. Here is what matters. Suppressed hostility is more dangerous than expressed hostility. The loud opponent can be mapped. The silent rival must be studied. In under 60 seconds, you can detect rivalry simply by observing how someone reacts when attention shifts away from them. Introduce a third person into the dynamic, even subtly. Mention someone influential. Observe. Does their posture stiffen? Does their smile freeze? Do they suddenly attempt to reassert presence with a louder tone or exaggerated gesture? That is status sensitivity. Ambitious individuals are hyper-aware of ranking shifts. They monitor threat constantly. They do not relax when another strong personality enters the field. True security does not react to every perceived challenge, but insecurity with ambition does. Now, understand something critical. Ambition itself is not visible in words. It is visible in scanning behavior. The ambitious mind is always measuring upward. In the first 60 seconds, watch their eyes when a high-status individual appears. Do they track them? Do they subtly adjust posture? Do they position themselves closer without seeming obvious? This is vertical orientation. They are calculating access. The insecure seek approval horizontally from peers. The ambitious seek leverage vertically from superiors. You can see the difference immediately if you stop thinking socially and start thinking hierarchically. Most people do not. They interpret friendliness as kindness, enthusiasm as passion, agreement as loyalty. You will not, because the seventh trick is the most powerful. Read what they avoid. Humans reveal themselves not only by what they display, but by what they suppress. When you introduce a topic lightly controversial or mildly challenging, observe micro-avoidance, a change in subject, a quick joke, a deflection. Avoidance indicates internal conflict. Conflict indicates pressure point. Pressure points are access points. For example, mention authority, watch for resentment micro-expressions. Mention competition, watch for tightening around the eyes. Mention risk, watch for hesitation. In 60 seconds, you can map someone's fear hierarchy. And fear hierarchy determines behavior under stress. Those who fear exclusion will over-accommodate. Those who fear insignificance will over-compete. Those who fear exposure will over-explain. Those who fear loss of control will dominate prematurely. You are not reading morality. You are reading fear architecture. This is where manipulation becomes possible, but also where discipline is required. Weak minds use this knowledge impulsively. They provoke for amusement. They exploit for ego. That is short-term thinking. Strategic minds observe first, store data, act later. Because when you understand someone's fear architecture within 60 seconds, you no longer react emotionally to them. You see their triggers before they deploy them. An aggressive individual attempts intimidation. You recognize it as fear of insignificance. You remain unmoved. A charming manipulator floods you with warmth. You recognize urgency beneath it. You slow the tempo. A silent rival attempts to undermine subtly. You identify suppressed hostility early. You adjust positioning before conflict escalates. This is preemptive dominance. And here is the final inversion before we close. The ultimate read is this. How do they react when they realize you are reading them? At some point, intelligent individuals sense observation. They feel the weight of calibrated silence. They detect that their usual tactics are not landing. Some become defensive. Some become intrigued. Some withdraw. The strongest remain unchanged. They do not flinch under scrutiny. They recognize another strategist. Now you understand the mechanics. But mechanics without positioning is incomplete. Reading someone in under 60 seconds is not the end game. It is the opening move. The final integration is this. Once you identify their strategy, fear architecture, ambition level, and hierarchy sensitivity, you adjust your projection deliberately. You do not respond to who they pretend to be. You respond to who they are beneath the mask. If they project aggressive dominance, but you detect insecurity, you do not challenge directly. You reduce validation. You slow your responses. You let their own overcompensation expose them. If they project warmth, but you detect strategic ambition, you remain courteous but unhurried. You do not grant premature access. You make them earn psychological proximity. If they appear submissive, yet carry patient stillness, you do not underestimate them. You respect the calculation. You negotiate carefully. This is power inversion. Most people react automatically. They mirror energy. They escalate when escalated. They soften when pressured. You do neither. You calibrate. Calibration is dominance without spectacle. Remember what you have learned. Hierarchy is established silently. Rhythm reveals control. Silence exposes fear. Distance signals rank. Microtension leaks hostility. Scanning behavior exposes ambition. Avoidance maps vulnerability. Within 60 seconds, the human nervous system has already told you everything language will attempt to disguise. The only question is whether you are disciplined enough to see it. There is a final truth few will accept. When you master this level of perception, people will feel different around you. Some will feel seen and uncomfortable. Some will feel challenged without knowing why. Some will attempt to dominate you more aggressively. Some will test you subtly. That is natural, because when you stop operating as prey, predators take notice. But understand this clearly. True dominance is not loud. It is not theatrical. It does not announce itself. It is controlled attention. It is the ability to remain internally still while others reveal themselves through noise. It is knowing you can read the board before the first piece moves. You are not seeking conflict, you are seeking clarity. Clarity removes intimidation. Clarity removes emotional manipulation. Clarity allows you to enter any room, any negotiation, any relationship, already aware of the invisible structure beneath it. And once you see structure, you are no longer reacting, you are positioning. That is the shift. Most people move through life socially blind. They are surprised by betrayal, shocked by power plays, confused by sudden disrespect. You will not be, because you understand that betrayal does not appear suddenly. It is preceded by micro-resentment. Power plays are preceded by territory tests. Disrespect is preceded by subtle boundary probing. All visible outcomes have invisible beginnings. You now know how to see the beginnings. But this knowledge separates. Some will use it to manipulate recklessly. They will attempt to dominate every interaction. They will become paranoid, hypervigilant, exhausted. That is weakness disguised as power. Real strategists use perception selectively. They observe constantly, but act minimally. They do not need to prove dominance. They simply refuse to surrender it unconsciously. If you have followed this entire transmission, then you already sense the difference between loud control and silent authority. This channel is not for the emotionally reactive. It is not for those seeking comfort. It is for those who want precision. If you recognize yourself in that description, then you already know what to do. Subscribe, not to consume content, but to refine perception. Those who choose clarity choose power, and power belongs to those who see first.